Before we dive into some new builds and flips, let me give you a quick update on the last video. If you remember these two PC builds, they are both getting packed up because, well, they sold. This one is a PC flip that involved two bad motherboards and a huge headache. And this one is a custom order build that came in from my website. If you are wondering on the specs, you can check out the last video after this one. Now let's get started on the next flip. I was looking for parts online and I stumbled upon this PC case on Amazon, which as much as I loved it, I kind of regret it. I'll explain it in a bit. Let's just go over the parts list first. The motherboard I went with was a ASRock B550M Phantom Gaming Riptide. For the CPU, I got this Ryzen 7 5800X, which I've been doing a lot of builds with these 5800X. I'm always finding really good deals on them on eBay. For the RAM, this time I went with the Alloy 2x16GB kit instead of my usual Timetech Pinnacle conduit. They were just a bit cheaper at the time on Amazon, so always shop around first. For the storage, I went with my usual because they're still the cheapest, is the Kelvin Kraz 1TB M.2 drive. To cool down this 5800X, I also went with my usual, the Thermalright Assassin King. Make sure to get the King with the 5 heat pipes and not the Assassin X with the 4 heat pipes. For the graphics card, I got this RTX 4060 on eBay for a really good deal. So now for the case. This is of course a replica of the Lee & Lee 011 Vision, which I've built in before and it's a really great case. I got it because it was the only micro ATX size in this style and I really like the all glass look. My issues were, one, I got a bundle with the fans because it was at a decent price. Didn't realize they were all exhaust fans. Two, the motherboard mounts are for the smaller style micro ATX, so the motherboard sticks out in front of the fans. Which three, I have no choice but to have the cable extensions like this. What are your thoughts? Worth it? Let me know down in the comments. In the meantime, check out this final product. Now that I have the PC all posted up for sale, let's go over the parts list of the next build. While I was editing my video and listening to my podcast, which is probably not a good idea, I got a payment through my website for a custom build order. His budget was around $2,000. So here are the parts that I put together. The motherboard is a Gigabyte B650M Gaming Plus Wi-Fi, a Ryzen 7 7700X, a 2x16 kit of Kelvin Kraz DDR5 clocked at 6000 MHz. He wanted a 2TB Samsung 990 Pro M.2 drive. They also wanted it to be air cooled, so I went with a dual tower ARGB tower cooler from Up Here, all inside the Sama PC case. The PC is powered with a Thermaltake Tough Power 750 watt power supply, and of course some easy DIY cable extensions. To save the best for last is the graphics card. We went with a Asus ProArt RTX 4070 Ti Super. He asked for a custom vinyl to go on the bottom of the case. His theme was Final Fantasy, which I'm not familiar with, so he sent me some samples so I can kind of reference off of. After some time, he had his friend who is a designer take over the design. Shoutouts to Born Deleuze for the amazing design. But enough talking and let's look at the final product. So this all glass build has been posted for less than a week and it's already sold to someone local to me. Well, about an hour's drive for them. So let's get this PC all packed up. And it worked out great because I also had to get this build all packed up and shipped out. Now, I usually use Instapack to protect the inside of the PC, but it's a bit tough with this one being so tight. With builds like this, you just have to stuff underneath the graphics card with bubble wrap so that it has no play. And I also like to add some bubble wrap in front of the cooler so that way the glass keeps pressure on the cooler to keep it from not moving around. These last couple of months have been very busy with selling and also getting local drop-off PCs, keeping me busy, like this build right here, but I'll save this one for the next video. Here's another build that I got dropped off to me. Person said they built it but was having issues with the AIO screen not turning on, and the PC was extremely slow booting up. Besides all the crazy cables everywhere, I can already spot one of the issues. First issue is that they installed the RAM into slots A1, B1. They're supposed to be in slots A2, B2. Let's get that all swapped out really quickly. I cleaned up some of the wiring that was all over the place, and I figured out why the AIO was not turning on. Now I lost some of the recordings, but I'll show you what happened as an example. So the AIO has a wire like this for a USB connection to the motherboard. You had it connected over here near the front case header. It's supposed to be connected to a USB header. Now let's start her up and see what we got. AIO screen is on, that's good. Now let's see what the issue is with the extremely slow boot up. After messing around in the BIOS, the PC has a M.2 drive and a 1TB hard drive. It looks like when they installed Windows, they installed it to the hard drive, which is why it was acting extremely slow. So I had to wipe the hard drive and reinstall Windows onto the M.2 drive, which is where you want it. After getting Windows installed, I was able to get this back to the customer within a couple of hours. And let's just say he was definitely excited for that. So if you watched my last video, I figured I'd share what I did with all the dead motherboards and the CPU that was DOA. Sometimes sellers on eBay will ask to send the items back. They would just give you a refund, and sometimes they would just give you a refund without having to send the item back. Now, I never tried to sell on eBay, but what has worked for me was posting on Mercari. I was able to post both motherboards and this 5800X that luckily I tested in time to get a refund. Within a couple of hours, someone had offered me $57, and with Mercari's fees, I got $50 back on this 5800X. Then the next morning, someone bought the Asus B550 motherboard. I had it listed for $42, and of course, with the fees, I made $36. So in total, I made about $80. So I pretty much made $80 so far, just for nothing. Hopefully the MSI board sells soon. And you know, looks like my bad luck is turning good, right? Not yet. One more bad thing. I decided to get a new monitor so I can edit videos while using dual monitors. And of course, the monitor I get has a bad backlight or this weird dark section on the screen. Is it just me, or is anyone else having bad luck lately? Let me know down in the comments. Well, if you enjoyed this video, stick around for the next one.